The galactic chamber echoed with murmurs of disbelief. Alien representatives from dozens of star systems gathered in the immense, circular hall, each adorned in their species' regalia. Some floated in translucent orbs, others sat in thrones of metal and bone, while a few communicated through flickering holograms. The Council of Jarail had convened for an emergency session, and at the center of the chamber stood the most unlikely guest of all, a human. Commander Isaac Harrington, tall and composed, faced the council with cold determination. His uniform was sharp and black, bearing the insignia of Earth's Unified Space Command. His eyes, sharp and calculating, swept across the sea of alien faces, reptilian, insectoid, avian, and forms beyond human comprehension. The aliens towered over him, most of them thinking themselves far superior to this small, primitive species. But Harrington stood unshaken. He wasn't here for diplomacy or negotiation. He was here for one thing: to deliver an ultimatum. The Grand Arbiter, an ancient being known as Thar, floated above in his ethereal throne, his shimmering form pulsing as he spoke. "Human, Commander Harrington." Thar's voice boomed, filled with the weight of 1,000 years of authority. "You stand before the greatest council in the galaxy. What you propose is unthinkable. A mere species from a backwater planet, threatening to unleash destruction on a scale we cannot tolerate. You do not understand the consequences of your actions." The council murmured in agreement. Some of the alien delegates hissed and clicked in their native languages, expressing disdain for the humans' arrogance. Harrington remained silent for a moment, then stepped forward. "Let me make this clear," he said, his voice steady and unwavering. "We didn't want this war. Humanity tried every form of diplomacy. We offered peace. We sent envoys. We asked for understanding. But you refused to listen. You saw us as weak. You sent raiders to our colonies. You attacked our worlds, enslaved our people, and ravaged our cities." He paused, letting his words sink in. The room grew quiet. "You thought we were fragile, unworthy of respect," Harrington continued, his tone hardening. "But you made a fatal mistake. You underestimated what humans are willing to do when pushed to the brink." The Grand Arbiter leaned forward, his glowing eyes narrowing. "And now you believe threats will change the course of this conflict? Your fleet is outmatched. Your technology inferior. We could wipe your kind from existence with a mere thought." The corners of Harrington's mouth twitched, a humorless smile playing on his lips. "Maybe," he replied, "but it won't come to that. Because if you strike us again, if you make one more move against Earth or her colonies, we will ignite your worlds." The room erupted in chaos. Alien delegates stood or floated, their voices rising in panic and fury. The idea was unthinkable insanity. Igniting worlds was an act of total planetary annihilation, something no species in the galaxy had dared since the Cataclysm Wars millennia ago. The technology had been considered a myth, a forgotten weapon of an extinct race. Thar's voice thundered above the noise. "Impossible! Humanity does not possess such weapons. You are bluffing." Harrington didn't flinch. Instead, he reached into his pocket and placed a small metallic device on the platform in front of him. It was unimpressive to the naked eye, no larger than a palm. But to the galactic elite, it was the very embodiment of terror. "This," Harrington said, "is a stellar ignition device. We call it the Starfire Protocol. Our scientists perfected it after your first raid on Mars. Once deployed in the core of a planet, it triggers a chain reaction that ignites the entire world, turning it into a miniature star. Nothing survives. No atmosphere. No life. Not even your cities of stone and steel." The council was stunned into silence. "And we have hundreds of them," Harrington added, "strategically placed across your empire. Your core worlds, your prize colonies, even the planets that supply your fleets with resources. If you attack us again, we won't fight a conventional war. We won't send fleets or soldiers. We'll ignite your worlds, one by one." The enormity of the threat settled over the council like a suffocating fog. For the first time in the history of the galaxy, an inferior species had created a weapon capable of absolute destruction. The balance of power had shifted in an instant. Thar's form dimmed slightly, as if the weight of the moment had drained his energy. "This is madness," he whispered. "If you use those devices, you risk destroying entire civilizations. You will bring the galaxy to ruin." Harrington's eyes gleamed with steely resolve. "Only if you make us. We don't want war, but we won't be subjugated. Not by you. Not by anyone. Humanity will not be enslaved or exterminated. We will fight for our survival, on our terms." Silence fell over the chamber once again. The alien delegates, once confident in their superiority, now looked at the human with a mixture of fear and respect. Even the most warlike among them knew the implications. There could be no victory against an enemy willing to destroy everything to protect itself. The Grand Arbiter shifted, his voice hollow. "What is your demand?" Harrington stepped back, knowing the fight had already been won. "Withdraw from our space. Cease all hostilities. Leave our colonies in peace, and we will do the same." Thar hesitated, but he knew there was no choice. "Very well," he said reluctantly. "The Council will discuss the terms. But know this, human, you have changed the galaxy forever." Harrington smiled, but it was a smile devoid of joy. "That's what we do." Without another word, he turned and left the chamber, his footsteps echoing through the halls of the galaxy's most powerful assembly. As Commander Harrington's ship left the Council world and disappeared into the stars, the galactic powers knew one thing with certainty. Humanity had just declared its place in the universe, and they would not be trifled with again.